680 CJOB. Do you share those concerns?
Oh, yeah. I've been saying for a while that we are ignoring this enormous block of unvaccinated people, which is kids under 5, and our policies seem to have passed them by. They need to be protected. The simplest and most effective way to protect them is to make sure that if they're going to be engaging in activities with strangers for long periods of time, then mask wearing is advisable.
When it comes to that group, how do we go about protecting them? Because I think, as we look towards March 1st and March 15th, when Manitoba's vaccine passport and then ultimately the mask mandate will end, there are going to be concerns, because just because we're ready to get back to daily life, how do we protect those around us?
It's a really good question. As you know, I've got a child under 5 as well, and this is something that consumes me every day. And what we've decided is we have to make personal decisions to curtail our individual exposures as adults to protect our child. And that's what's going to have to happen for parents of kids under 5. This responsibility is being downloaded onto the individual as restrictions are taken off the table at a societal level. So number one is you limit your exposures. Number two, you make sure the adults that these kids come into contact with are themselves vaccinated. Not double, but triply so. And if your kid can manage it, then you wear a mask when you're outdoors in public places.
Winnipeg's chief administrative officer, who will join us later in our next hour here on 680 CJOB, saying that City of Winnipeg employees will still need to wear a mask to work, but if you use a city facility, you don't have to. And I am wondering whether or not you're getting asked that question by more and more people, and employees as well, about mask mandates. There's nothing illegal about having a workplace telling you still have to wear a mask.
Yeah, it's a really strange situation because we have a variety of curtailment tools currently being used: vaccine mandates, ventilation, mask wearing, distancing, capacity limits, etc. The simplest, cheapest, and most impactful of those is the mask wearing. That strikes me as the last thing that needs to go. It's also something that we can do as individuals to protect ourselves when others won't protect us. So I don't know why there's a rush to remove that particular mitigation strategy. The other ones should go first, particularly the capacity limits, but mask wearing should be the last one taken off the table.
Well, and Julie, it's interesting because as we go into that in the weeks ahead, not only here in Manitoba, but across the country, it might see even further divides if employers like the City of Winnipeg start telling people, you know what, we're still requiring you to wear a mask on the job. It's going to provide for some, and I'll use the word, interesting times.
Absolutely. And it's something we heard from businesses at the beginning of the pandemic when, as Ray, you kind of described that the onus is being put on individuals to make those decisions to protect their own children. Businesses were saying early on in the pandemic, we just wish government would tell us what it wants done, because at the end of the day, they were left choosing whether to allow people to wear masks or not wear masks. And now we've come full circle. They've had those mandates. They're going to end, and businesses are going, now we have to make the decision whether we still require masks and vaccine passports to come into restaurants and other places. Do we still have any data or good data to say transmission happens in restaurants or doesn't happen in theaters, those kinds of things that could guide business decisions?
There's all kinds of data from all kinds of venues in all points of the pandemic. And if you look at it with a rational eye and take the very best quality data, then yeah, mask wearing works, especially in these crowded public spaces. Absolutely, it works. There's no question that it works. Even the simulation engineering data, that laboratory control, absolutely it works. It comes down to the quality of the mask, how well they're worn, and how long the duration of exposure is. If you're sitting in a room for several hours with someone who's infected and not wearing a mask, then your probability of your masks failing increases. Nothing's perfect, but mask wearing is extremely good. And it's not just a matter of giving people the tools to wear them. The state has to step in and take the blowback when businesses are being punished for enacting a mask mandate. You can't rely upon or expect a 17-year-old at the front door of a restaurant to be enforcing these things. It's not fair.
Well, we might be headed that way. Raywat Deonandan, as always, we thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.